Bonsoir tout le monde, bonsoir à tous et bonsoir à toutes. Bienvenue sur ce nouveau webinaire Simplycure. Donc ce soir, on est accompagné de Kelly Halderman qui va nous parler un petit peu de WEO, qui va nous expliquer un peu le concept de ces nouvelles bouteilles révolutionnaires. Hi Kelly, nice to be with you tonight.
Hello Solène, thank you for having me today.
Lovely to have you here today. La présentation sera donc en anglais. De toute façon, vous aurez bien accès au replay et aux slides par la suite pour éventuellement regarder ça un peu plus à tête posée par la suite. Donc, pas de souci. Pour le fonctionnement de Livestore, pour ceux qui éventuellement ne connaissent pas encore, vous pouvez à tout moment poser vos questions dans la rubrique questions qui se trouve en bas à droite. On garde bien 10-15 minutes à la fin pour vous répondre, donc n'hésitez pas. S'il y a des soucis concernant la vidéo, le son ou autre, n'hésitez pas à discuter dans le chat et moi, je pourrai vous répondre pour ces petites questions. Now, without further ado, I'm going to let you start the presentation, Kelly, and I'll be back at the end for questions.
Okay, thank you, Solène. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for your time. I know time is our most precious asset. So in the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to deliver you something that is going to revolutionize your health and the people you take care of as well. And so my background, once upon a time, I was a medical doctor practicing as a family physician medicine doctor. When I myself got really sick and I was given a diagnosis and I had to actually step away from medicine. And while I stepped away and healed myself, I learned about the importance of things such as hydration and how in our society, we really don't appreciate how important it is to really, again, stay hydrated. But WEO, as you will learn, and I am the Chief Health Officer, WEO is a company that has taken hydration, taken water, and literally brought it to another level, a whole nother level where our water can't even be compared to water in Evian bottles or coming out of the tap or things. Our water has so many health promoting properties to it. It's really hard to believe. And our science is so robust. I can't wait to get into that with you and really get into the studies and how WEO is different and how, again, it will revolutionize your health and the health of your patients. And so WEO is a company that is deeply invested in research. There's a lot of companies out there that talk about products, and it's really a lot of good marketing, and they're not backed by science. But what WEO is we are deeply invested in doing this research. We've been doing it for over 15 years of research, and we have done over 60 plus scientific studies on plant, animal, and human health. And we have 12 patents from this research filed and several in process. And so when I go through these studies, there has been years of intricate research projects, and we continue to move forward. That's one of the reasons I joined the company, is to continue moving forward with our human research, with our health research on the benefits that we can have using our technology. And we have a big vision at WEO. So it's not just about selling a product and making a profit. You know, of course, we want to do something bigger because we believe in optimizing the future of humans, the future of our planet. And so really, when we're talking about a molecule such as water that makes up almost 70% of the human body, we're talking about something that's absolutely critical to every single person that you help, including yourself. And it's part of a healthy lifestyle. It is. And water, again, is part of our healthy lifestyle, but what we want is something that can give us beyond that hydration properties. And that's why, again, we're thinking big. We're thinking using water to help humanity, to really help the food we eat as well. And so when we think of the planet, WEO can be used to help lessen plastic use of the water bottles. And we know that those plastics that have water in them that we buy from different stores, they have toxins in them. They have xenoestrogens in them that are bad for us. And so we want to lessen that plastic burden, lessen the landfills using our water bottles, as well as helping with plant and agriculture. Water helps. This type of water doesn't just help humans, it helps plants, it helps animals. And so we really want to have that big global vision on how we can impact the world. So the $1 million question is what is inside? This is the WEO bottle right here. The bottom right of your screen, you'll see our WEO bottle, and it is made of glass. And inside right here, we have our Swiss technology. And our Swiss technology are boron doped diamonds. And so those are embedded in every single one of our bottles. That diamond technology is in there. And what we do is we use electrolysis. The process of electrolysis is simply adding energy, and we're adding energy to those electrodes, and we're rearranging the water. We're splitting the water. We're not adding anything to the water. We're not adding any chemicals, anything else. We're just purely taking water and we're exploiting its amazing properties. And I'll get into a little bit more in the science, but this is what is actually in every single one of these bottles is this diamond technology. And so how are we unique? Well, again, we are just simply taking water from nature and we are exploiting its properties. We are really not adding anything. It's simply H2O. But the power of H2O when we're adding that electrolysis, think of adding energy, can be very powerful. And we'll get into some of the studies that we've done on that. And our electrolysis modules are clean. That diamond electrolysis is clean. And now if you look at other electrolysis modules that can be purchased, they are frequently contaminated, and that contamination with heavy metals can get into your water. So again, we are so proud of the fact that we have the diamonds that we use that are, again, they're completely non-toxic. Another reason that we're unique, if we go a little deeper and if we look into what's happening in the water, is that when we apply that electrolysis to those diamond electrodes, what we're doing is we're producing medical gases. Now, two of those medical gases that we're producing, one is molecular hydrogen and the other is dissolved oxygen. We're also creating energy clusters. And so that makes sense. We're adding that electrolysis, which is energy. We're adding energy to the water, and we're seeing on a microscopic level, some of our scientists have gone and done amazing work with partners such as the University of Michigan, the University of South Florida, where they're using the most highly sophisticated devices to look at our water on an atomic level. And again, what they're seeing is energy clusters in the water. And we're comparing that to tap water, which doesn't have energy clusters. We're also looking at the structure. The structure of water is very important. In nature, structured water is a liquid crystalline form. As it's flowing through rivers and streams, we'll find it in that form that the body absolutely loves. It's like an unprocessed water. We're told to eat unprocessed foods. We're told that to have good health, we really need food in its natural structure. Well, that is the same for water. When we're looking at water that has gone through pipes, that's been sitting in plastic bottles, that's gone through reverse osmosis, it becomes unstructured. It's not in that liquid crystalline state. And so when we're drinking that water, the body thinks of it as a processed water. And so what we have done with our technology is brought that water back to that natural, unprocessed state. And then lastly, I'll just briefly touch on this because I have some slides on it, is that we create clathrates. Now, think of a clathrate as a cage. And so the clathrate that is created using the H2O molecules, again, we're not adding anything, it's able to cage those medical gases inside of those structures. And so a lot of the times when people are interested in drinking water that's enriched with hydrogen or oxygen for health benefits, what happens is the hydrogen just decants off very fast. And so you have a solution that has hydrogen, but it wants to equilibrate with the atmosphere. And so by the time you get done drinking it, the hydrogen's already in the air. But what we've shown is that our water is stable up to 14 days. And we knew this before we knew the mechanism. Now we know that the clathrate is caging and harnessing those medical gases. And then so they're releasing them over time, making our water stable for up to 14 days after it's been electrolyzed. I should mention too, we also have a lowered ORP. So what ORP stands for is oxidation reduction potential. ORP, when it has a low number, such as ours is 500, it means that it's able to scavenge free radicals. We eat healthy fruits and vegetables, and they have low ORPs because they're able to go into our body and help, again, reduce the free radicals, reduce the inflammation. Our water, as we have shown with Kelvin force microscopy, actually has that negative potential. So it has a lot of potential, it's saying, to really go into the body and act as an antioxidant. So the atomic level characterization of WEO has been done, and we've used with our scientists all over the world. We've used the most advanced microscopy and spectroscopy methods. And what we wanted to look at is what is going on to the water when we're actually restructuring it, when we're applying our technology to it. And we found that what happens is we create a diversity of bioactive species. You can see on the top graph right here, this is the picture that was taken with that advanced microscopy and spectroscopy of normal filtered tap water. And you can see that the spikes on the bottom with the wheel, that indicates the diversity of species. And again, those diversity of species, what they do is those bioelements help with different areas of health. And they also, again, they represent having a water that has a lot of energy in it. We also use power spectrum analysis, and we again found that WEO water is highly energized. And we found this by looking at the water varied bond lengths and angles. It sounds kind of complicated, but if you look down here simply at the WEO water and those spikes and all that blue color and how it's going up, that's just indicative of the energized water state. And this would be your regular filtered tap water, not even in comparison to what WEO has. In the atomic level characterizations, this is some of the studies we've done on the water. And again, we're showing numerous bioactive species, clusters, and clathrates. And so I did allude to the clusters and the clathrates, as well as some of those bioactive species, such as molecular hydrogens. And you can see from this atomic level characterization, we see different hydrogens, including atomic and molecular. And we can see that those are containing high levels of energy at different states. And then down in the bottom left, we'll see the molecular restructuring. And I also talked about that, restructuring the water to that liquid crystalline form that's like an unprocessed water that the body really likes to have. And then the water clusters and clathrates. You can see those on an atomic level and looking at that high energy area right there. And there's that image indicative of a clathrate. And again, clathrates have the ability to cage bioactives. We know that from the literature, and that in that clathrate right there is the molecular hydrogen and the oxygen that have been caged in there. And so when we're drinking the water, they're just slowly being released over time. So our water is stable, and those gases don't just decant off into the atmosphere. We're able to harness them for longer in the body and in your WEO bottle. And this is really fascinating. Again, as a previous life as a medical doctor, a medical provider, we frequently use binders. And I'm sure that most of you on the call have heard of binders. You've used different binders such as activated charcoal and zeolites. And one of the properties that make binders able to bind toxicants is that they're able to cage those. And so we're looking at the ability of our water to we generate those clathrates, and then we have the decanting of the molecular gases out into the body, and then capturing different molecules, such as hydrocarbons. So hydrocarbons, this is from a paper where the hydrocarbon is actually sequestered in the middle of the clathrate. And we see that it's able to cage that structure. And again, by nature of binders, what we want them to do is cage toxicants and have them help escort them out of the body. And again, with our electrolysis process, we're using that energy to split water molecules, and we restructure the water. We create that new potential energy, and it can contain higher energy in those hydrogen bonds. So you'll have different sizes of hydrogen bonds and different energy in those bonds. Our BDD electrodes, so it's boron, dope, diamond electrodes, also have the highest ability to generate some reactive oxygen species. Now, this is actually helpful in wound healing models, which I'll show you. We've done some preclinical work on wound healing models as well. And so we can have that potential to help with that model as well, which we're looking at different areas of health. And in cell studies, we've shown that there is no difference in cell viability or cell death between human healthy fibroblast, between cultured tap and WEO. And this was because we were thinking, well, if the over and over again, if the water has higher energy, we just want to have our safety studies. And of course, what WEO water is completely safe. And the Kelvin force microscopy is what confirmed WEO's antioxidant properties. Again, we have a very low charge, a negative 550 millivolt charge, and that parlays us to be a potent antioxidant. And so a lot of the times we eat food, we have different supplements, and they're antioxidant, but I want to just tell you about a caveat that you may be aware of, is that when we are consuming antioxidants such as vitamin C, vitamin E, and glutathione in the body, those antioxidants will go in and they will donate their electron and they will scavenge a free radical. Once they do that, those 3, if not more, antioxidants then become pro-oxidants in the body that the body has to deal with. They have become a burden in the body. And so it takes more recycling. You've probably heard of glutathione recycling. We were trying to really take those pro-oxidants and recycle them or rid them from the body. That takes demand on the body. Now, WEO water, it is an antioxidant, and it is a selective antioxidant, meaning that it does not need to be recycled. Once it does its job, it is done, and there's no burden on the body, which is very interesting. It also activates the NRF2 pathway. So the NRF2 pathway is our antioxidant endogenous pathway. When the NRF2 pathway is activated, what will happen is you'll have your own endogenous production of glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and catalase. So this is signaling to the body, if the body is under inflammation or oxidative stress, that we then need to make our own. So again, this is just a very, very smart water in that it doesn't have to be recycled like other antioxidants, and that is also upregulating our own endogenous pathways. And we continue to partner with leading prestigious universities all over the US and in Europe. We're continuing to drive our novel water science discoveries, which is just unbelievable to see some of the science and results that we get back, and we're continuing down that pathway. So on to the clinical effects of WEO, which is really what your patients and your clients are going to be asking you. What can this water do for me? And so these next couple slides, I'm going to review the literature, the clinical data that has robust findings in these different areas. And you might be saying to yourself, how could a water do so many different things for me and for my patients and clients? And again, I think it goes back to what I just said about WEO water being a potent antioxidant and a potent upregulator of our own endogenous production of antioxidants. In that inflammation, in my training as a naturopath, would be the root cause of disease. And so if you look at inflammation, sometimes inflammation will affect people in different areas. That's because we're all unique and different. When we're looking at really getting at the core of that inflammation, then we're looking at all kinds of pleiotropic effects in different people because they all have different issues. And so when we see benefits in skin and hair health and digestive health, exercise performance, anti-aging, neurological health, the decreasing of inflammatory markers, and metabolic health, it's really acting on that cellular level to really quell what drives disease. And so In the category of anti-aging, what has been shown in literature is that our bioactive was able to increase telomere length, improve DNA methylation, and again, activate that endogenous NRF2 pathway, which is that anti-aging pathway, which just is known as. All these studies are linked in the back, so you'll have all the references as well to look these up. Skin and hair health will be able to promote collagen synthesis, repress that UVA, that sun damage that causes wrinkling and a decreased appearance in skin health, and as well as able to correct some wrinkles and blotches in skin appearance. In the category of exercise performance, we have a mitigation of fatigue, a normal decline in performance, and improved recovery and decreased lactic acid and increased VO2 max. And it's no surprise that we're able in clinical trials to decrease inflammatory markers when you're really upregulating the antioxidants, when you're giving your body antioxidants, when you're lessening that burden. You should see inflammatory markers go down. So IL-1 beta, TNF alpha, IL-6, some of the worst offenders in the human body were all found to be decreased. In neurological health, it was found to increase brain creatine, choline, and another neurotransmitter, NAA, levels. In metabolic health, which is one of our most exciting areas that we're exploring, and we're doing research and really paving the way for some really great preventive, I would say, mechanisms, and is our metabolic health category in general. And we've shown that we can improve body composition, total visceral and subcutaneous fat mass would decrease, a decrease in triglycerides and insulin. And again, I think it goes back to that main mechanism as well. An increase in antioxidant and our antioxidant enzymes. We've covered that, and as well as digestive health. So we actually, in our microbiome, we have bacteria. We're supposed to have bacteria that endogenously produce molecular hydrogen, one of the components in water. And so we know that it's a good molecule and that it has a lot of positive benefits, helping to, again, it's an antioxidant in itself. And so it's no surprise that we see positive effects in digestive health, helping that gut integrity, helping to feed the healthy bacteria and then some reorganization of the microbiota if there are disturbances. And so overall, again, when you look at the gestalt, when you're looking at why, again, are we getting such good results in all these areas? It's really because we can boost antioxidants. I think it comes down to that, and decrease inflammation. And again, we have so many other mechanisms that we're looking at, the clathrate ability of our water to bind potential toxicants. And again, but if you're looking at a very well-known measure of inflammation in the body, CRP, which is C-reactive protein, you can see they are before and after, and they go straight down when you're looking at that measure of inflammation. And that is really indicative of your body increasing its wellness and health. I also like to touch on that in the skin health area. I know people spend billions of dollars, and that's in the skin health area, is that bioactive in there was able to promote that collagen synthesis. So let's take a look over here on the right, and you'll see that the control, you'll see those cells right there that are blue, and they use fluorescent stains. When you're using that bioactive in water, look at that collagen synthesis. And again, this over here on the left would be the wrinkles, the determination of the depth and the amount of the wrinkles, and it was able to actually repress that. And I think that makes perfect sense. Again, if you have that antioxidant that's perfectly going in and really scavenging only your the free radicals that are dangerous, because the bioactive in our water, it doesn't scavenge the free radicals such as hydrogen peroxide that are actually signaling molecules. And we do need a balance of oxidation and reduction. If we were all reduction, then we have cancer cells and other cells that are infected with viruses, and we need those. So to have a selective antioxidant, I think, is a really good strategy. We're also able with that bioactive to help cleanse the hair pores, because again, we spend billions of dollars on our skin health as well as hair health as well. And a lot of people post-COVID had a lot of hair loss, and really the strategies to help that are they're hit or miss. And so looking at our technology, we're able with a topical application to cleanse that hair pore, which promotes capillary blood flow, which then again can help with hair health. And so just a couple of studies that we have performed in our WEO lab that I will touch on before I take some questions. And so this first one we showed in a control model in fibroblasts, which are the skin connective tissue. This is a wound healing model. And so we're able to show that WEO helps in this wound healing model, as you can see over there on the left, compared to WEO water. We really have that robust healing mechanism there. And another one that we did now on epithelial cells, so that's your skin's main cell type. We did a control group right here without WEO water, then application of the WEO water. We just saw such robust, significant healing over there on the right using WEO water in culture. We've done an exciting study on the effects of atopic dermatitis, which is eczema, in an in vivo model. And we were able to positively influence the atopic dermatitis. And this was, again, an in vivo model. We reduced the skin degradations in quantity and size. And I will say that anecdotally, we have a lot of people who are using our water, and their skin health, if they have eczema, is definitely helping to mitigate that. We've also done several studies in partnership with INSERM, and we found that we have beneficial effects on immune health. And some of those studies were looking at natural killer cells and T cells. We're looking at balancing of the immune system, and we're looking at really trying to upregulate the B cells in an older population. So we're really just really proud of the work that we've done in Europe with the immune health, and we're continuing to research those positive benefits. And most recently, we have done work on cellular senescence. And so in our biology lab, we're tackling one of the biggest problems that leads to aging, and this is called senescence. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with what senescence is, but it's basically when the cell stops dividing. So a cell will have insults, and so insults and toxins and other things will cause it to have to replicate. And it'll get to the point where it no longer can replicate, and that's at Hayflick limit that was described in the 1960s. When you hit that, you then become a senescent cell. Some people refer to them as zombie cells, and that they have a different morphological shape. They have a different physiological role in the body. And so the problem with senescent cells is that they secrete what's called SASP factors. These SASP factors are actually inflammagens and cytokines and things that can really inflame the body. And so a high level of senescent cells in the body has been correlated with many diseases of aging and chronic diseases. And so it's a really big area of study to help to try and help use things that help with the senescence burden. And in our lab, we were able to show that WEO water regulated transcriptional areas of senescence. So that's proteomics, transcriptomics. We regulated oxidative stress pathways and pro-inflammatory markers. And we concluded from this study, which we're actually publishing, that WEO water can modulate senescent-related gene expression, and this could be a novel complement therapy to age-related diseases, which is really exciting. I don't know if you have heard of Dr. Peter Attia. Over here in the United States, he's a very well-known medical doctor, and he talks about medicine 2.0 and medicine 3.0. Now, medicine 2.0 was discovered when germ theory came along, and it really revolutionized how we treated infections, and we had antibiotics. And so that really looks at treating the problem once it's there, right? So, in medicine, I learned how to fix a broken arm. I was in surgeries to help with heart attacks, and all the things that people come in with, where they come in with diabetes, they come in with things. But medicine 3.0, which is right now, you are literally living the medicine 3.0, is the change from treating the problem, treating the diabetes, treating the heart disease, to preventing it from ever getting to be a problem. And so when we look at preventative strategies, that's medicine 3.0, we're looking at how do we take the population over here in the United States. 1 in 3 people have prediabetes, if not more. And so they're really setting themselves up for many chronic diseases that eventually will take your life. So medicine 3.0 this is what we're talking about today. This is these preventative strategies that can help on these cellular levels, and you're stepping into it with Wheel Water. I think a lot of people think in terms of medicine 2.0 when they say, what condition can this treat? That's archaic. That's archaic thinking, unless you have those conditions. What I want you to know today is that medicine 3.0 is, how can I prevent the diseases that are going to eventually kill you if we don't do something about it? And that's the power of WEO, is really looking on that preventative the strategy. And so moving on to some of the internal home use trials that we've done, we've had one in 2019 where we saw improved digestion, strength and vitality, recovering performance, mood, joint pain, some decreased incidence of allergies and skin irritations. And again, this is all about this presentation, is really the water working on the molecular level. And I don't know what benefits you're going to get until you start drinking it, because I'm not sure where is your miasm. I'm not sure where the weakness is. And so a lot of the times, people will say, will it treat this? Will it not? Well, I do know that hydration is good for you. I do know that you're more likely to have inflammation in your body. And so that's what we're trying to tackle, are those areas. We repeated our in-home use trial in August of 2023, and we were really pleased. We saw really great results, and this is within 2 weeks. I want you to know that as well, is that these results, that on average our users report that when they start drinking Wheel Water, something changes for the better in about 2 weeks. So you don't have to drink this for 3 months to get proper, some sort of response. And I will also say is that this is a good slide to talk about the app that comes with the bottle. And so the app actually knows, as this lady's taking a sip, the app actually measures how much water you're drinking in a day. I like to think of the Wheel app as a personal hydration accountability partner. My Wheel bottle alerts me that I need to get to a certain amount of water per day. It sets a timer. It gives me, again, a gentle reminder on my phone of how important water is. And it has a gyroscope in the bottle that, again, knows when I'm lifting it up and knows when I'm setting it down. So it gets to know your hydration habits. It makes it easier for you to consume the right amount of water for you. And so some of the people in this most recent study, they had better energy, clearer thinking, better digestion, better skin health, workouts, their sleep was better, their pain was lessened, they just felt less stressed. And so I think that this just, again, goes back to going for that root cause, really looking at preventative strategies and looking at really helping to the gut. I really do believe that the disease it begins in the gut. And so if you have upregulation of your microbiota, if you have upregulation of those cells in there with the Wheel Water and that negative ORP, I think that you're going to be helping everything. And again, these are some of our anecdotes that come through. We get these every day with how pleased people are about the effects. Again, sleep and bloating and glowing skin, people thinking better, their digestion's better. We just have a lot of Wheel lovers out there. And I will note too is that this review down here talks about how their whole family loves drinking it. And I do give it to all my kids. In the morning, I just electrolyze the water. That's by pressing the button right here. It takes just 30 seconds to electrolyze. It's about 20 ounces of water. And then I just pour it into their different bottles for the day for my kids. And I also give this to my pets. My pets really prefer Wheel Water to regular tap water. And so it's really simple to use this bottle for multiple family members as well. Well, that concludes my presentation. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I will hand it over to Selene.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation, Kelly. Everything was very clear. Thank you for all those insights into the studies on Wheel Water. I must admit, it does look pretty amazing. So now, very briefly, before we go to the questions, we did receive a few questions beforehand, so I'll just ask them in a few minutes. I'm going to switch to French and then back to English. Pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas encore, je voulais juste faire un petit mot sur Simplycure, donc la plateforme qui propose ce webinaire en collaboration avec WEO. Donc Simplycure, c'est une plateforme sur laquelle vous pouvez faire des recommandations de compléments alimentaires à vos patients. Et je voulais juste vous montrer comment ça fonctionne très brièvement. Hop. Donc, nous voici sur l'interface Simplycure. Pour créer une recommandation à vos clients, à vos patients, c'est assez simple. Vous n'avez qu'à cliquer sur « Nouvelle recommandation », sélectionner la personne à qui vous souhaitez envoyer cette recommandation et puis ajouter des produits. Donc, vous allez pouvoir ajouter un certain nombre de compléments alimentaires. On est presque à 1000 références au catalogue. Vous avez une 50aine de laboratoires de disponibles. Bon, ce qui va nous intéresser, nous, aujourd'hui, c'est éventuellement d'ajouter cette bouteille en particulier à la recommandation pour l'envoyer ensuite à mon patient. Vous n'avez plus qu'à cliquer sur « Envoyer ». Lui reçoit directement un mail avec sa recommandation. Et donc, je vais vous montrer rapidement comment ça se présente pour lui. Donc, s'il ouvre son mail, il va tomber sur cette page-ci. Il n'a plus qu'à continuer vers le paiement pour recevoir ensuite le produit directement chez lui. Donc, c'est sous 3 jours. Donc, c'est très rapide, c'est très simple d'utilisation. Vous pouvez associer des produits, bien sûr, de différents labos. Donc, voilà, vous n'êtes pas obligé de rester strictement sur un laboratoire. Vous pouvez ajouter la bouteille avec des compléments alimentaires de certains laboratoires. Donc, l'idée, c'est vraiment de simplifier pour vous votre activité. Si vous avez l'habitude de faire des recommandations de compléments alimentaires, une 50aine de laboratoires. Vous gagnez du temps, bien sûr. Vous améliorez l'adhésion à vos recommandations parce que comme c'est plus simple pour le client, il ne reçoit qu'un seul mail et il n'a plus qu'à passer sa commande, il y a plus de chances qu'il adhère à la recommandation. Et ensuite, il y a tout un système, bien sûr, d'avantages. Vous pouvez faire bénéficier de réductions à vos clients. Donc, voilà. Plateforme qui est entièrement gratuite. Je vais vous partager le lien dans le chat dans une seconde. Et donc, je vous invite également aux prochains événements. Donc, la semaine prochaine, on propose 2 webinaires. Le premier avec Pharmanor. On va faire un petit atelier pratique pour vous présenter la gamme Pharmanor. Et ensuite, on va faire un webinaire avec Pediaki. Donc, pour les questions, donc dans la rubrique questions, j'en avais pas vu, mais j'avais reçu des questions en un mot. So I'm going to switch back to English now. So I did receive a few questions just before the webinar, so I'm just going to ask them now. What can a person expect from drinking real water?
Yeah, that's a great question. And during the presentation, we talked about the mechanism of action. And so we're really a potent antioxidant, and we're working on a couple different levels in the body just beyond hydration. So it can really vary. Solène, it can really vary, according to your genetics, according to your diet, your lifestyle, your sleep patterns. It sometimes surprises us when someone says, I didn't think I wasn't sleeping well, but I started drinking WEO and I'm waking up and not even needing coffee. So, how was I supposed to know that was going to be a positive effect? But I think it's just really personalized, and your body is so smart that it'll take the WEO water and it'll apply it to, again, the area most needed.
Amazing. And are there any negative effects it could have?
So our water is indeed water, which is kind of hard to believe when you look at all the positive effects, but we're not adding anything to it. Water is obviously recognized as safe. It has GRAS status. And so my answer is usually no, there aren't any side effects. However, I will caveat that because I did go to medical school, is that if you do drink too much water in excess, you can get what's called hyponatremia. And that is a serious lethal condition where your sodium level drops too low. And so we like to stay within the guidelines of the Mayo Clinic, where we're consuming the amount of water for a person based on their height and their weight. And the WEO app can actually do that for you. We also have a hydration calculator. That's so we.o.org for the calculator, and weo.com is where you can find more information on the bottle. But again, it's just water. I haven't seen any negative effects. If you really are concerned, and I think this is a good thing with anything you start, whether you grab a vitamin or a supplement from anywhere, and I'm talking to the general public, I'm not talking to practitioners, but the general public should just go ask their practitioner. Now, if you are the practitioner being asked, there's literally nothing in this water that I believe from all the research that I've done that can interfere with any medication or has any, doesn't change the pH. Solène, I think that's a really, really important point. The water does not change the pH. It's very important. I'm not a fan whatsoever of alkaline water. So that's important for doctors to know. No pH change.
Okay, great. Now, regarding who could we propose this water to? Can I give it to like children's?
Yeah, so I think this water, everything living on earth needs water, right? So if you think of something that could use some water, WEO is the water that has, it's upgraded. It's, it's much better than your regular water. So I obviously give it to my kids every morning. I give it to my plants. I give it to my pets. I think that, we're starting to do studies on animal health as well, because we love our pets so much and we want them to live longer. And so we're starting to do some research there, but I all of the above.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, can you give it to pets as well? Like, would you? Yeah, as well, everyone.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't see more questions popping up, but anyway, if you have any more questions, please feel free to send them and we'll just answer them later on. If you have any questions, send them by email. But thank you so much for the presentation, Kelly. Anyway, it was great to have you with us tonight.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
You will have the replay and the slides obviously uploaded on Simplycure maybe tomorrow morning, during the day anyway. And maybe we'll do a small little translation as well, at least a little resume in French so everyone can follow during this presentation. Thank you so much again and great evening to everyone.